Welcome to 3 minutes of Parsha power. This Shabbos, Parsha's Tzav, is also Shabbos Hagadol, the great Shabbos, because it was on this Shabbos that the great miracle took place just before the Jewish people came out of Egypt. Hashem commanded the people to take a lamb and put it aside in order to shecht it, in order to slaughter it for the Korban Pesach, and the blood of that lamb would be put on the doorposts. So then, when the final hammer blow, the last of the 10 plagues, the death of the firstborn, would take place, all the houses that had blood on the doorposts would be saved and would be spared. So it was a test for the Jewish people to do this action, to listen to God's commandment. Why was it a test? Because the lamb was a form of worship, was a deity in Egypt. And it was very offensive to the Egyptians for the Jews to now be taking lambs, and they would say to them, why do you want these lambs? What are you doing with the lamb? We're putting it aside because our God told us that we need to slaughter it in his service. That would be very offensive to the Egyptians. And the Jews expected, as they were oppressed for so many years in Egypt, that the Egyptians would attack them and would kill them. And the great miracle was that not one Jew got harmed, even though they separated their lambs to the worship of Hashem. And that's why it's called Shabbos Hagadol, the great miracle. And it's the beginning of the end, the beginning of the redemption. Well, it's already been going on for 10 months, but this is the build up to the climax, which is the plague of the death of the firstborn and the Jewish people then leaving Egypt. And that's why we market the Shabbos. In fact, this year, it's exactly the same as it was the year they came out. That the 10th of Nisan was the Shabbos. They came out Thursday morning. It's the same. First day Pesach is Wednesday night, Thursday. So it's exactly the same this year. And it reminds us, foundation of all of Pesach, is that everything that happens in the world is from Hashem. Pesach was the time when Hashem revealed to all of humanity that Hashem is in complete control of every aspect of nature, and that nothing is beyond Hashem's control. Hashem reversed the laws of nature for the 10 plagues in order to take the Jewish people out of Egypt. And that is the foundation of the Emunah, of the faith of every Jew, that God is omnipotent and has the power and control of everything, complete dominion of everything in the world. And that is our foundation as Jews, is that we understand that our lives, both on a national level and a personal level, are directed exactly by Hashem. Everything that happens to us is tailor-made from Hashem. It's all part of the opportunity of life to grow and to develop and become noble human beings, to rise above our lower selves. And we saw Hashem's power once in history, says the Ramban, at the times of Pesach, and that's why we draw on that experience all the time. That's why Pesach is so important. The Leil HaSeder, which is Wednesday night, and second night Pesach, Thursday, they're so important because we relive those events. That is the foundation of our history and of our faith in God, and all of the 8 days of Pesach. We are reminding ourselves that God revealed himself to humanity in such a powerful way, and we draw on that experience to understand that God is present in my life, and everything that happens to me is God sent and is what I need to develop and grow, and there's no accidents and there's no coincidence. And that's such a beautiful way to live, and connects us to God and to eternity. So please God, we should all have a Chag Kasher v'Sameach, keep Pesach properly, keep the halachas of not eating chametz and only Pesach Dika items, and relive those experiences and build that muscle of Emunah, which is central to the life of a Jew. A Chag Kasher v'Sameach, and have a wonderful Shabbos and a wonderful Pesach.